Your phone lights up. You coming? It is a simple question, but your body answers first, even before you think. Your chest tightens, your jaw sets. Your thumb hovers over the screen like the air itself got heavier. You tell yourself it is just dinner, just a wedding, just another holiday. No one is yelling. Nothing is technically wrong. And yet your nervous system is already scanning the future. The small jokes that sting, the polite questions that feel like tests, the version of you that has to appear so everyone stays comfortable. You are not trying to punish anyone. You are trying to breathe. For some people, a family gathering is warmth. For others, it is a room where love is conditional and belonging costs performance. So when they do not show up, it is rarely coldness. It is self-preservation. The quiet moment they finally listen to what their body has been whispering for years. And here is the truth most people never hear. When someone stops showing up to family gatherings, it is often not rejection. It is regulation. It is the nervous system choosing safety after years of having to be pleasant, smaller, and agreeable in a room that did not feel emotionally safe. They learn the difference between being loved and being tolerated, between belonging and performing. In this video, I want to give you a clear map of what is happening under the surface. We will talk about how family roles get assigned, how emotional neglect can wound without a single obvious scandal, and why your body can treat nothing happened like a threat anyway. We will also talk about boundaries, the guilt that follows, and what it means to build a chosen family where you do not have to edit yourself to earn a seat at the table. Because you do not owe anyone your presence at the price of your peace. You deserve relationships that let you exhale. To everyone else, it looks simple. A chair at the table, a photo, a few hours of small talk. So, when you do not show up, people reach for easy stories. You are cold, you think you are better, you are ungrateful, you are antisocial. But those labels only make sense if they ignore the invisible work it takes for you to attend. The rehearsed answers in the car, the mental checklist of what not to say, the constant scanning of faces for a shift in tone. The laugh that comes half a second late because you are calculating whether this is a joke or a warning. Even when nobody explodes, your body stays on duty, managing everyone's comfort, shrinking your needs, swallowing your reactions so the room can stay fine. Maybe you smile through the greetings, then retreat to the bathroom to breathe, staring at your own eyes in the mirror, telling yourself to hold it together. Maybe you go home and crash for 2 days, not from food or travel, but from the strain of pretending. That is why outsiders miss the real story. They are watching a calendar event. You are remembering a history. And the choice not to go is rarely a tantrum. It is an exit. If you want to understand why some people do not attend, you have to stop treating it like a personality trait and start treating it like a nervous system response. Your body is not evaluating the invitation the way your mind does. Your mind says, it will be fine. Your body asks a different question. Will I be safe to be real? And if history taught you that being real leads to ridicule, dismissal, pressure, or emotional whiplash, your system prepares for threat even in a quiet room. This is how survival learning works. It is not always about shouting or obvious cruelty. It can be sarcasm that lands like a slap, affection that disappears the moment you disagree, conversations that turn into evaluations, or that familiar feeling that you are being watched for mistakes. Your nervous system does not need a dramatic incident to file something under danger. It only needs repetition. So you feel it in the body first. The shallow breath, the stomach drop when you pull into the driveway, the headache that starts before you even leave, the exhaustion that arrives early like a warning. People call it overreacting, but it is actually pattern recognition. Belonging is the feeling of being able to exhale without performing. Performance is the feeling of holding your breath so nobody gets uncomfortable. When you have spent years holding your breath, not going is not a punishment. It is the first deep inhale you have given yourself in a long time. And that is why absence can look like distance on the outside, while on the inside, it is protection. A quiet decision to stop letting your body pay for a seat at the table. Because the truth is, most families are not just groups of people, they are systems. And every system quietly assigns parts for everyone to play. Maybe you became the peacekeeper who smooths over tension before it sparks. Maybe you were the responsible one, the one who never needs help, because needing help was treated like weakness. Maybe you learned to be funny, to keep the mood light, because seriousness made people uncomfortable. Or maybe you became the invisible one, the child who caused the least trouble and got the least attention. These roles are not character flaws. They are strategies. They form when a kid senses, sometimes without a single conversation, what is rewarded and what is punished in that home. The problem is that the role that protected you then can suffocate you later. Real belonging means you can show up as a whole person and still be treated with dignity. Performing means you are allowed in as long as you stay predictable, as long as you do not disrupt the story, as long as you keep carrying what nobody wants to look at. And here is the painful twist. When you stop showing up, the pushback is often not about love. It is about homeostasis. The family misses the version of you that made things easier, the one who absorbed tension, laughed at the wrong jokes, apologized first, and stayed quiet so everyone else could feel normal. So disappearing is not always rebellion. Sometimes it is the first time you refuse your old assignment. It is the moment you choose to belong to yourself instead of performing for acceptance. And the loneliest place, for many people, is not an empty apartment. It is a crowded living room where everyone knows your name, but nobody knows you. You sit at the table, and the conversation moves around you like weather. Someone asks a question that sounds friendly, but you can feel the hook inside it. So what are you doing with your life now? Are you still that sensitive? When are you going to settle down? It is not the words by themselves. It is the tone, the familiar sense that you are being measured, compared, evaluated, reduced to an old version that fits the family's memory better than the person you have become. If you speak honestly, the air shifts. You are told you are overthinking, being dramatic, ruining the mood. If you stay quiet, you are labeled distant, ungrateful, too good to talk to anyone. It is a double bind that trains your nervous system to freeze. So you smile at the right moments, you nod, you keep your voice soft, and you disappear inside yourself while your body stays in the chair. This is why some people leave gatherings feeling hollow, like they were present but not included. You can be surrounded by relatives and still feel emotionally homeless, because being physically together is not the same as being seen. And after enough nights like that, solitude stops feeling like a punishment. It starts to feel like relief. What you are really craving is relational authenticity. The freedom to be emotionally truthful in a relationship without being punished for it. In a healthy connection, you can bring your real thoughts, your real boundaries, your real feelings, and the relationship can hold them. In an emotionally unsafe family system, authenticity is treated like a problem. If you are honest, you are accused of being difficult. If you are quiet, you are accused of being cold. So you learn a third option. You edit yourself in advance. You filter your stories. You downgrade your opinions. You soften your needs into jokes. You become a translator for your own inner life, always asking, what version of me will be tolerated here? Psychologically, that constant self-monitoring is exhausting because it turns the relationship into a vigilance task. Your brain is not simply chatting, it is tracking facial cues, predicting reactions, preventing conflict, managing impressions. That is why people can leave a gathering thinking nothing bad happened and still feel like they ran a marathon. It is like having a background app running all day. The screen looks fine, but your battery drains anyway. A quick way to tell if you are dealing with a lack of relational authenticity is to notice what your body does around these events. Do you rehearse conversations before you arrive? Do you feel relief when plans get cancelled? Do you feel like you have to compress your personality to fit in? If the answer is yes, then your fatigue is not weakness. It is information. It is your system telling you that connection without authenticity is not connection, it is performance. And when the cost of performing becomes too high, the body chooses distance, not because it hates people, but because it wants to survive them. And sometimes the reason a gathering feels so draining is not because there was obvious abuse. It is because there was emotional neglect, the slow absence of attunement that teaches a child their inner world does not matter. Emotional neglect can look polite from the outside. You were fed, clothed, driven to school, maybe even praised for achievements. But when you were scared, no one stayed curious. When you were sad, you were told to toughen up. When you were angry, You were punished for the tone instead of understood for the pain. The family might not have been cruel, they were just emotionally unavailable, and the nervous system experiences that as loneliness with no witness. This is why so many adults say, "Nothing happened," and still feel a hollow ache when they think about home. Something did happen. What happened is that comfort did not, repair did not, someone asking, "What are you feeling right now?" did not. Over time, you adapt. You become hyper-independent, the person who does not need anything, or you become numb, because having needs never led to care, or you become an overfunctioner, reading everyone else's emotions while your own stay unnamed. Then, years later, you walk into a family gathering and your body remembers that old environment. Not as danger in the dramatic sense, but as a place where your emotional reality will be ignored. You can sit among familiar voices and still feel like you are alone inside your skin. A childhood without comfort teaches you to call loneliness normal. And once your system learns that pattern, it makes sense that you would avoid the setting that recreates it, even if no one can point to a single shocking event. The wound is not a bruise, it is a missing. This is why the decision not to go almost never happens overnight. It is rarely one blow-up, one cruel sentence, one final betrayal. Most of the time, it is death by 1,000 small cuts. It is being interrupted so often you stop finishing your thoughts. It is the joke at your expense that everyone expects you to laugh at. It is the way your boundaries are treated like suggestions or like a challenge. It is being asked personal questions in front of an audience, then being called dramatic when you do not want to answer. It is watching people demand forgiveness while refusing to do repair. It is being told to keep the peace, which really means keep your feelings quiet so other people can stay comfortable. Each moment is small enough to dismiss, and that is what makes it powerful. When pain is subtle, you blame yourself for feeling it. You tell yourself you should be stronger, more grateful, less sensitive, but your nervous system keeps score, and one day the cup fills up, not because you are petty, but because you finally notice the pattern. Every time you go, you leave yourself behind. So staying home is not a dramatic exit, it is a slow recognition, and then one honest choice. I am done paying for connection with self-abandonment. And then comes the part that reveals the truth of the system. The moment you set a boundary, you say something simple, something adult and clear, like, "I am not coming this year," or "I need space right now." You do not scream it, you do not debate it, you just state it. And suddenly the conversation is no longer about logistics, it becomes a referendum on your character. You might hear that you are selfish, ungrateful, dramatic, cruel. You might get guilt dressed up as concern after everything we have done for you. You are breaking your mother's heart. You might get fear-based pressure. One day, you will regret this. These reactions are designed to pull you back into your old role, the one that makes everyone else comfortable. Psychologically, this is important to understand. A boundary is not an attack, but people who benefited from your lack of boundaries often experience it as one. And here is the line you have to hold on to when the guilt hits. Someone else's discomfort with your boundary is not your responsibility. You can be kind without collapsing. You can be loving without surrendering. Sometimes, the healthiest response is short and steady. I hear you. My decision is the same. I am not debating this. I am letting you know. I am taking care of my health. I will reach out when I can. Boundaries are not punishments. They are proof that you finally believe your own well-being matters. After you do not go, the first thing you might feel is not freedom, but emptiness. Your mind plays old recordings. Maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I should have just pushed through. You miss the idea of family, even if you do not miss the experience of being with them. Grief shows up in strange ways, because you are not only grieving people, you are grieving the hope that one day it would feel different. And then, often quietly, your body tells the truth. You sleep deeper. Your shoulders drop. Your stomach unclenches. You realize how much tension you were carrying just to be easy to be around. That relief can feel almost suspicious at first, like you did something wrong, but it is not wrongdoing. It is your nervous system finally coming down from alert. This is the moment where people begin to find themselves again, not in some dramatic reinvention, but in small rituals that feel honest. Cooking a meal you actually like, taking a walk when you would have been performing, calling the one friend who does not make you explain your pain into something more polite. And over time, chosen family begins to form. A circle where love is not conditional, where home is not a last name, but a feeling of safety. You get to choose that.